So when my grandparents were alive, they had no idea what devastation might be caused by plastic. They saw only the benefits from the convenience it creates. But now we know better. And from now, you know better. So how will you show up in your great-grandchildren's future? We hope it's by ending the plastic soup that we're all confronted with. There's so much Rotarian work to be done. We just need to do it. So you can connect with us on any or all of these channels, or grab the link to join. Scanning the QR code on your phone will take you to the website. And that's us, minus Salvador. He couldn't join us tonight, I don't think. He had lots of work to do. So we would really appreciate your feedback and questions. I'm hoping there's a lot of questions, and we will attempt to answer those for you. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen so I can see you all. And there you all are.
Perfect. Thank you. Well done, Melanie and Barbara. So I think we should applaud for what you have been doing for us and for all of us in our planet in Melbourne. I think it was a wonderful presentation, and as I understood from all of you, is that there were just 240 seats available in the room, and they were filled like 10 minutes before. So many people were sent away, even your own district governor, Melanie, who was 10 minutes before, but he could stand in the doorway, but then he had to leave because of security reasons. So there were many people who would like to have seen you, and hopefully this recording can help to support all of them. I'm very happy that you all are there. Maybe you have questions that you want to raise to Barbara and Melanie, or to Maya and me. Please raise your hand or ask for permission to ask a question. Barbara, you want to say something first?
I just want to say it was very exciting for Melanie and I that the room was so full, and we even had one of the trustees from the international board who attended our session, which was great. And a number of people urged us for next year that we should have a bigger room and more time, because there was so many questions and we just didn't have enough time to answer all the questions. That was probably the best part of the whole thing, was all the interest and questions and enthusiasm. People were really wanting this information.
Well, wonderful to hear. Yeah. Other questions from the people attending now? Urs, you might have a question, as past district governor, past Rotary the international director.
Hello, everybody. It's nice to see you, and I look forward how your organization will develop in the future, and what the strategy is. Do you have a working group who cares about it, or what's the idea?
Do we have a working group for the strategy?
Strategy development, yes.
Yes. And
yes.
There's some great ideas, among others. First of all, ideas to extend the number of projects and the number of partners, but also to extend board members and directors within EndPlasticSoup internationally, because we need everyone on this planet, and especially every Rotarian, to take part. EndPlasticSoup turned out to be a movement where we are uniting people. There's no real polarization about plastic. Nobody wants plastic pollution out there. And so we invite people to help us. We started a new team called No Plastic, no, not really, but plastic in the health sector, because we don't want plastic anymore, plastic pollution in the hospitals. In just the Netherlands, Holland, and I think most countries in Western Europe, it's 13% of all the plastic pollution that comes out of the surgery rooms in hospitals. It's tremendous. And We have just done a project that has been rewarded by our ambassador club in Almere, where they had a reduction of 75% plastic pollution in 1 year. So it's possible, even with all the legislation that are available in Western European countries, to avoid all the plastic waste. Our strategy is also to extend education in Indonesia and the Philippines is the next step. But we have great projects also in Vietnam, in the hospitals, the hotel sector, where they want to have hotel-free, plastic-free hotels. And these hotels work together, all big hotels in southern Vietnam, and they own about 95% of the rooms in Vietnam. So whenever you go on holidays, you will end up in an EndPlasticSoup hotel, I think. And the same is in India, where lots of people are traveling, like in Asia, and use a lot of sachets and a lot of bottles. And we try to reduce that together with the travel agency. And I think there's so much opportunity to develop things that we can do. But especially awareness and education is where it all starts. Let's make change makers of our younger generation.
Thank you.
One of our clubs in our district, I'm in California, and one of our clubs in our district is taking on the mission of letter writing to the Rotary International to ensure that the next convention is a zero waste convention. And that's a project that they wanted to take on this year. They were not, I don't know if any of them were at the convention. I can't remember from that particular club, but we in our district, we're really encouraging people to look at, for each club to look at their own habits and their own practices within their, in their club meetings, in their club events, and in their personal lives. And the conversation is really expanding in our district. It's in our district governor was at our presentation, and he and his wife are very much behind this idea. So it's very exciting. So I'm encouraging other people to write letters. I don't know who we write letters to for the International Convention, but it really should be an example to the world that we can do a zero waste convention.
Barbara, I can help you with that. Our the conference, what is she? Conference chair, Jenny Scott, is in my district, and I have been speaking with her as well. So we can definitely leverage her. She is also the environmental cadre for the Rotary Foundation, and her background is environmental law. She lives up in the beautiful Blue Mountains, just 2 hours west of Sydney, and is a huge environmental advocate. So she's the person we need to talk to. So
well, if you can send me any information, because they're aching to get this started, so that'd be great.
Yeah, so I guess, yeah, so it's getting then Singapore on board. I think Australia was going to try to do a very green conference, but because of COVID, it was very difficult, even with all of our bans that have come on with, supermarkets are no longer allowed to sell plastic straws or plastic cutlery or plastic single-use plates and picnic sort of stuff. It all has to be, most of it's made out of like sugar cane and bamboo fibers and things now. So that was legislation that came through, but because of COVID for the conference, I think it was very difficult for them to not have the food vendors and things supply with their stuff. So there was still lots of coffee cups. I mean, we can do better. We can bring our.
So I think, Melanie, we will bring you into touch. We created together. That's how we met, I think 3-4 years ago in creating this event guide that has now been made together with EndPlasticSoup and SRAC. And I think definitely it helps all of us, not just the international convention, but also the Rotary Institutes, the district conferences and the meetings in your own club to become more plastic free and to become waste free towards a level that is acceptable. Before I give the word to Urs, ladies first. Anna, you wanted to ask a question. Anna Mier.
Oh, hello, everybody. I just wanted to ask if you could possibly share the information of who to write to in Rotary in order for us to also send letters from other parts of the world. Maybe we can make it a plastic-free convention. That would be great. Thank you.
Thank you.
And congratulations on the presentation. It was wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you. Urs, you have another question?
Well, yes, I think a plastic-free convention is very ambitious. I think, well, we can try to do it, but I would start with something very small. This is an international coffee in Evanston, also one Rotary Center. That we ask that Rotary itself, with this restaurant, and also with RI Center, that there is more care about plastic, because, you know, when I was eating there, I was amazed, first of all, about all the plastic which is used there, and second, also about the quality of food there. As I can tell you, it's really not the gastronomical highlight. And so I think we could just say, let's start very small, on a point where a lot of Rotarians regularly are obliged to eat, so that we have there a good example, and then we can afterwards scale it up to all other events.
It's a good idea, Urs. I like that.
Yes.
It also allows us to write a letter to Mr. John Yuko to just propose this. And you can combine not plastic free, but plastic poor, we call it in our own community, Ingrid, to say we cannot just do anything plastic free, but we can make it plastic poor. I don't know if that's the right.
Yeah, less plastic. I think plastic poor. I don't think it's a good word. So less plastic in shops and in supermarkets, restaurants. We try to convince huizen, the village huizen, that it's needed, and we hope that the shops will do work with us. And we also think about working with schools together. So there is a technasium, a technical level in the school, which are interesting to do it as a project, to think about to be more concerned in the people in the village, and maybe to have some ideas for the shops, because it's difficult for shops. How do you work with some without plastic when you get it from the buyer? You buy the things. So we have a lot of ideas to also get through the chain of shops and the industry. Probably not. Well, we're hoped that we can go to have a pilot. Sorry for my English.
No, thank you. I think the challenge is also helpful if you look, for example, to the formal industry on waste management. They call zero waste. Zero waste is less than 5% rest waste. So it's not totally zero. Let's make a step. And like we said in EndPlasticSoup, let's start today, do step by step and do it together. So I will try to start today or tomorrow, Urs, on John Yuko asking for less plastic in the restaurants. We find out that most companies now in Holland use their own cup. So bring your own cup for the coffee, and they don't even have plastic cups anymore. So when you're a guest and you want to have a coffee, you have to choose one of the cups that are available for you. And then you wash it yourself when you want to have a second cup of coffee. So it's all possible. It's just a way that we have been used to take plastic. Melanie,
I can just confirm that in the European Africa office in Zurich, this is already the case, and they have a perfect system So I think Rotary International could learn about how we do it in Europe and get inspired how to have it in a sustainable way.
Yeah. And then use local food, because then you don't need the plastic packaging, and it's even healthier and better for you. Yeah, less fat and more vitamins and minerals. Anna, you want to say a question?
I have one question. What about the alternative of the compostable utensils that are made?
The alternatives, yeah, well, they're not really compostable packaging yet. It will take a while. The best is to use less packaging. And when we use it, let's use, for example, or paper or carton, or use a single material, so that you don't have like salad packaging, different folies, etc. all together, because then you get mixed plastic. And yes, we can now process mixed plastic into building materials, but you cannot do much more on recycling with it than that. So when you have virgin plastic, let's keep it virgin. Yeah, let's not mix it with sheets and foils, etc. to cover and to make it look nice so that you can look inside. Let's use one piece of plastic.
But the alternative,
compostable, sorry, I was just going to add the compostable cutlery. How it stands at the moment is a lot of places do not have the commercial compost systems in the waste collection stream to actually compost those.
Yeah.
So there are a few packaging alternatives that are home compostable. So if you see that labeled, that does often break down. But you know, through composting, you need particular conditions.
Yeah.
So when things still end up in landfill, those conditions are not right. It's very anaerobic in a landfill system. You're not able to turn it around like you would with a compost heap. So it's a very different system to what it needs to actually break down. So if you do see like home compostable, then that's a better alternative, because if you've got your own compost bin at your house, that will actually compost down.
Thank you.
But it's always better to go back to the old-fashioned way of using your normal cutlery, or a nice little stainless steel kit that you keep in your handbag and carry around with you. That's always going to be the best alternative.
Yeah, I take your pan for getting French fries at the snack bar. Yeah. It's now a law in the European Union not to give you packaging without charging money. So, but you can take your own pan. You can take your own basket and say, put the French fries in there. Yeah. You mostly get more.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah. Maria, you want to ask a question?
Yeah, Melanie said old fashioned. And I wanted to speak about fashion. Then most fast fashion is full of microplastics. And also those clothes are exported to countries like Ghana, and they don't know what to do with it. It's in the desert there. It's really a big problem. And don't forget about the cigarette butts. They are also full of microplastic. They are in Europe, they are lying everywhere, and they are so polluting the water. When it's on the ground, it comes into the soil and then into the groundwater. It's really a risk for all of us. And it's so easy to create awareness, because people don't, I think people don't know about it. They don't know about the threat. And we should really create awareness about all those things. And I know it is nice to have a new t-shirt for young people, even if it's €1 or €2. How is it possible to produce something like that? But if you wear it just a few weeks and then throw it away, and it's somewhere in the desert in Ghana, it makes me really sad. And it's polluting the deserts, it's polluting the soil, it's polluting the air. And yeah, I think we should create awareness among young children, among teenagers, among adults, among everyone. So there's a lot to do. Yes, we can do better. Thank you, Melanie and Barbara.
on your point with cigarette butts, Australia offers a really good case study on that. We banned smoking on beaches. And so when I think I was a dive instructor way back in the year 2000 for a few years, and we would take part in big national cleanup days called Clean Up Australia, and it still runs now. But I, as a scuba diver, would do them underwater and have a whole team, and we'd clean up. You've probably heard of Sydney's most famous beach, Bondi Beach. Our site was actually North Bondi Beach, and we would dive all day with big sacks and collect things. And back then it was styrofoam, and we haven't had styrofoam. So McDonald's burgers would come in styrofoam. We were a large tea drinking nation then, so cups of tea would come in styrofoam cups. We banned that a long time ago. So you no longer see any styrofoam unless it's like very, very old and persistent. But cigarette butts, we would collect kilograms and kilograms of these cigarette butts, waterlogged, that would just sit there ready for fish to consume them, and also leaching out all the chemicals that they're designed to actually capture through the cigarette smoke. So now if I was to go clean up that site underwater now, we would no longer see those cigarette butts. You might get a few scattered from stormwater coming through, but because they've banned cigarette butts on beaches, you cannot smoke on the beach anymore. Then we've actually cleaned that up. So good case study. I don't know how you go about banning smoking in Europe, because it's a lot more popular there, I think. But we are starting to see a few of the e-cigarette little devices now being discarded, like on coastal walks and things like that, which is a real shame because they're a big plastic box. Yeah. So watch this space. We're currently sort of trying to tackle that in youth. So I don't know if they'll be banned eventually, hopefully soon.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Well, what we see is because of the taxes, cigarette smoking is pretty expensive. It's bad for your health. And now making people aware that the cigarette butts, the ends of your cigarette, when you put them on the ground outside, you put them in nature, they really hurt nature because of the microfilters the microplastics that are in there. It's oil, poison. And if we can convince many, many young people, and also the adults, make them aware that it should not be there, then that will be very helpful.
And it's part of the holistic way to tackle these problems, these environmental problems as well. So if we look at cigarette butts in particular, the way they banned or I guess got a lot of people to quit smoking was through putting graphic pictures on cigarette cartons, or having no branding whatsoever. So you just end up with a blank carton of cigarettes, and then it went to warnings. And now if you come across a discarded carton, I'm not a smoker, but if I see one on the ground, it will have a picture of someone that's lost like their nose
all over the world nowadays because
and it deters them. So taking a holistic approach to this issue it's not just about stopping using coffee cups. It's bigger than that. Yeah. So yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Putting warnings on plastic bottles of all the chemicals that are in the bottles would be.
We'll wait for that to happen.
Yeah, sure. The plastic industry is going to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all. Are there any other questions? Otherwise, it's now 1 o'clock in Sydney in the night on the Saturday morning, Melanie. So I think it's about almost time for you to go to bed. Huh? And
you might be able to hear my dog
it.
snoring.
Okay.
It's not me making those noises. It's my dog. He's gone to sleep.
Okay. Barbara, you have another question?
I put it in the chat, but I've just found a quote recently It's pretty amazing that our society has reached a point where the effort necessary to extract oil from the ground, ship it to a refinery, turn it into plastic, shape it appropriately, truck it to a store, buy it, and bring it home is considered to be less effort than what it takes to just wash the spoon when you're done with it. I thought that was
There's a great video, actually. We've got Plastic Free July on now in Australia, Western Australian initiative. And that they've put out a very good video. I can't link it. It's on a
You send it to me, we'll send it together with.
Yeah, it's not actually a link. It's a LinkedIn message. So, but it's very good. And it runs through the alternative at the moment. Everyone's going like, so we don't have plastic bags in our supermarkets, but now everyone's going to paper bags, and you have to buy the paper bag. It's 25 cents each, which is quite expensive. And, you know, obviously we're encouraged to bring our own bags, but when you get stuck and you haven't got those bags, you purchase a paper bag. And obviously all the bans on plastic picnic wear is now being replaced with a bit more paper-based products. And so this video runs through, it's got a split screen. It's very effective. On the left-hand side, it runs through someone sort of serving dinner, a meal on porcelain plates with your metal cutlery, and then they eat their dinner and they put it in the dishwasher, and then it sits in the dishwasher getting washed, and then it's pulled out of the dishwasher. Concurrently, on the right-hand side of the split screen, it shows someone who's got takeaway, and that takeaway isn't delivered in a plastic box. It's actually in a paper box in a paper bag, and it runs through while the dishes get put in the dishwasher. It runs through visually the journey that has had to occur for that paper packaging to be available to you. So it goes through all the felling, the chemical processing of the wood pulp, the making of the paper, the transportation of that, the entire supply chain, all while the porcelain plates are sat in the dishwasher. So it's a really powerful video. It's a great way to visually display what we choose to do when we get takeaway. So the message is make takeaway go away. So don't get takeaway, or take your own, go to a place that allows you to take your own containers and take your own glass containers and then use those.
Can you,
so,
do you think you'll be able to share that?
I can't share it as a video link because they haven't put it on the YouTube channel or anything. It's an actual post, so I can send the post, but you need to be logged into.
Send me
LinkedIn.
the post. I'll find a way to get it and then I'll send it along.
I have screen captured it, but it doesn't have the music behind it. So
I saw Carrie, you were 1 hour late in the call, I think, in the Zoom, but most welcome.
Oh no, time zones.
Yeah, but your picture was very nicely presented by Melanie and Barbara with your own club, and thank you for that. And we have recorded and are still recording this, so we'll send you the recording very soon and the presentation. When there are no more questions, I think that it's time for Melanie to go to sleep and for all us to prepare for the weekend. And
I just want to say that in India, already initiative has taken, and single-use plastic is already banned, and we are totally switch over. Earlier, whatever we used to do the same way, cloth bags as well as bamboo and jute and eco-friendly products. We are mainly using the leaf, banana leaf and all. So these are the practices now again back into the routine. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and I think that's very good, because the old-fashioned way might be a very good way. Yeah, and we have to learn the trade again and the custom to use it in a better way. Thank you.
It's a reminder, actually, just quickly. One of we were getting a very, very big buzz around the EndPlasticSoup booth at the convention as well. And we were visited by several people from the Philippines, actually. And it was a standout for me because the person I was talking to was saying, you know, we need help getting education into the Philippines. And so I know Gajon is working on that. And so it really resonated at the time. And what he was saying is, you know, once upon a time, they had all their natural packaging, the coconut shells and all of that, and they don't have waste management in these countries, obviously, to deal with all the westernized packaging that their food comes in now. So there's also no education in that space. So what he was really frustrated with is the school children. And so school-aged kids, you know, take their packet of chips and just discard the packaging because they haven't been taught what happens to it. And, you know, the parents might be not educated as well. And from an era where they didn't have food in packaging like that. The food actually broke down. You were consuming more fruit peels and things like that might take a little while to break down, but they definitely break down in nature, whereas these plastics are persisting. So he was saying, you know, there's just plastic everywhere. I've not been to the Philippines, so I can't comment personally, but he was saying, yeah, it's, you know,
well, the Philippines and Indonesia
kids actually. Yeah,
two countries in the world with the most plastic.
Yeah. I'm very aware of where that plastic comes because in the ocean currents, it ends up in places like Christmas Island that shouldn't really have any plastic, and we've got beaches drowning in plastic washing up from far away places. So, yeah.
Well, we're getting there because we are starting now with the skill grant submission to application to get education to 18 million children in Indonesia and the Philippines with 600,000 teachers. And I think if Rotary can do that, then we definitely have an impact on changing life. Yeah.
Yes.
I just want to piggyback onto that because in the booth, there was tremendous interest. The booth was busy all the time. And I wanted to say that I know I introduced you to Cafeteria Culture, which is this organization in New York City. And these are inner city kids that have worked really hard to ban styrofoam in New York City. And they spoke to the mayor, they spoke to the city council, and they started a plastic-free lunch day. And they made a movie called Microplastic Madness. And it's a movie about fifth graders, and it's all inner city kids. And the movie is fantastic, and you can arrange to show it to school children or to anybody. We've shown it a number of times in this area, and the kids go through and they learn how to do trash audits, and they go to the beach, and they in one part of the film they met with the grandson or I think it was the grandson of one of the people that created plastic to begin with. And it's a wonderful, wonderful film. And I really encourage people to check into it. I can introduce you to the people that work on that project.
Yeah, I'm very happy that you picked it up because we were informed by the Rotary Club in New York.
Yes.
The ambassador to take use of that. And then because Cafeteria Culture had a focus with their new action and then Microplastic Madness movie on the USA first, we said, well, then Barbara should be definitely aligned. And you picked it up, and they are very enthusiastic. There's a lot of communication going on.
Oh, good.
I think that Cafeteria Culture definitely will come to the UK, Canada, and the other parts of the world. But it's a step-by-step approach. And on the other side, our young ambassador Nina, that you saw in the movie during your presentation, she has started a canteen, plastic-free canteens in Indonesia. And for two reasons. One was the plastic-free, but the other was the obesitas. The sugar use among children in Indonesia has grown so dramatically that I think over 25% of the young children, so till 12 years old, already have developed sugar disease. And because of that, they will have more and more problems with their health in the future when they get adults. Not just saying about their weight, but their total health balance is not good. So Nina took this challenge and she is now developing that program in her own area, you could say, which is always pretty big in Dutch terms, because Indonesia is so big. But I think it's a very good initiative. And if we can connect Nina to cafeteria culture, then we will make a jump across the oceans into the Southeast Asia area.
They do show it in Japan. One of the women that helped produce it is Japanese, and so it is being promoted in Japan.
Yeah, let's make
anyway.
a next step. We do this step by step, Barbara, Melanie. We cannot do it all at the same time. There's some big plans to go, like Urs said, what is your strategy? But one is to make a hype of this among the young generation, to make them change makers. And there are definitely possibilities to get within 1 month to 100,000 followers, and within 1 year to 100 million. And then we would be in the top 5 of, how you say that, stars in the world, just beyond Beyoncé and so these pop stars. And I think these kind of things are also possible. But then we should deliver content. We should not fall into the trap of doing the wrong things. So we will take a few more years before we start that. But it's definitely a great opportunity to let Rotary change the world, like the former president.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now we create hope. Now we create hope.
Let's hope. We're teaching at uni. So at uni, I've got a program called Let's Get Wasted. It's very appealing, obviously, to young people. And so I run them through a design thinking sprint where they use empathy and interview people and find out all about waste. And there's a series of learning experiences that they have. And then they go into what I call a pressure cooker, day 3, build a website, a video, explain a video, and start putting together a pitch. And then on the final, like the 4th day, they actually pitch out their idea. And the ideas that some of these university students are coming up with are really, really great. Unfortunately, we don't have anything to catalyze that turning into something at the end. It does just stop with the ideas, but it shows that there's a lot of interest, a lot of
about the design thinking way of changing life.
Amazing. Yeah, really, really engaging learning experience for the young people, but also for older people. I think there's lots of space in Rotary to bring in some of those workshops.
Let's get wasted, something like that.
Let's get wasted. Yeah, all about waste. So I just wanted to mention a point, because my field is climate change, and I did mention in that presentation there is a link, and so I just want to leave you with this thought before I go. So if we continue on the current trajectory of producing plastic, by 2050, 20% of the oil consumed will actually be going into the creation of plastic.
Yeah.
So 20% of oil consumption will be used up in plastic, which is incredible when we're trying to challenge fossil fuel usage, and yet we're creating more and more plastic each day. So it's a massive saving in emissions, and that's just the oil production. That doesn't include the waste management side of that, which includes incineration and obviously leaching of the chemicals out the other end. So yeah, a huge problem, lots of investment needed,
and lots of opportunity to do something about it. So
yeah,
I would like to save your Saturday, Melanie, because otherwise The
We
sun
can
I'm
is
talk
gonna go to
getting
Fiji.
up
I'm gonna
again.
go to Fiji. Okay. I'm gonna check out how clean Fiji is.
Okay. Thank you all very much for attending.
Sorry, Nejyoti.
And can you please share your email ID?
Thank you. Okay.
I missed
Share
that.
your email ID, I said.
I can't hear you.
Can
I
you
put the,
share your email ID, I said.
Oh, email. Sure. I'll put my email in the chat.
and I put the email in so I could send you the information about the movie and connect you with the people that you would need to be connected with.
Yeah.
So just send an email. It's to me, and I'll get you organized on that.
Thank you very much. I will stop recording now if I can somehow. Then